I'm here at Pirate Contemporary Art to discuss an upcoming art exhibition that's been 60 years in the making. I've sat down with the artist to find out why. Could you please introduce yourself to the audience?
Yes, thank you, Andrew. I am Robert Louis Moller from Chicago.
So, Mr. Moller, how and why did you become an artist?
Well, the why might be a mystery, but I can tell you how. I graduated from high school in Chicago, Lakeview, in 1953, probably before your grandparents were born. And then when I graduated there, I immediately went into the Army. And I was stationed in Fort Hamilton in Brooklyn.
Oh.
I guess they thought the Koreans were going to invade there or something, but that's where I was. And every opportunity I got, I went into the city in Manhattan. I was desperate to see the action there in the galleries and the museums. And I loved the art that I saw. Mm-hmm. I loved the people who were doing it. And I liked the parties, the associations, and so forth. So that's how I got into the art and the craft of painting. When I was still in the Army, I spent a little bit of time. I took a painting course at the Art Students League. As soon as I got out of the Army, I had the opportunity to enter the Hans Hofmann School of Fine Art and had the honor and privilege of studying with Hans Hofmann himself, who was an incredible, eccentric genius of a man. And that's where basically I took in all of the spirit of how I operate now as a painter. And that school closed, 1958, and I went back to Chicago.
Did you make a career out of your art?
Sort of I did. It was hard to make a career out of art, of course, for most people. So I got a job in the post office. Worked with career service for quite a while, but every moment I had an opportunity, I would go out to my garage and paint. And recently I've taken up pastels.
This one is pareidolia?
Pareidolia, yes. That's actually a joint effort between me and my grandson, who happens to be right here. Hey, come on over.
All right.
And why don't you tell the man how we put this thing together?
Me and Grandpa worked on this together as a sort of call and response, where I'd paint something and he'd paint something in response to it, and vice versa. And so when we stepped back after the painting was finished, we saw an owl in the painting, and that wasn't intentional. And so we knew there was a term for seeing faces in abstract art, and so we looked it up together, and that's what we called it.
Yes, and is this the owl right here?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's it. You've seen him.
Yeah.
Your pareidolia is working well.
Yes.
Thank you.
Indeed it is. Thank you. So, Robert, how do you feel about having your own solo show here in Lakewood?
Interesting question. I'm a little nervous about it. I've been keeping these works in my garage, in my basement, in the spare bedroom, in the attic. Just been hesitant, insecure, I guess, about showing them. But my friend John Davenport, you probably know who he is, he has been on me for years. Show your work. Grandpa, he calls me Grandpa sometimes. He says, show your work, and I'm always hesitant to do it, but he got the show here at Pirate, and he said, look, we've got a little bit of wall space. I think he was being generous, actually. Don't you come and join me? So I thought, well, I'll feel a little more secure if he's in the room with me to hold my hand, so to speak. So I said yes.
Last question, before we do our little interview. Dogs or cats?
Well, let me tell you a little story.
Yeah?
How does a woman find out who loves her for real, her dog or her boyfriend?
How?
She locks them both in the trunk of the car and waits for an hour, and then opens up the trunk and sees which one is glad to see her. So I prefer dogs. You can tell how they feel.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Mr.
Yes.
Moller.
Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you. Paintings and Pastels by Robert Louis Moller will be here at Pirate Contemporary Art through November 28th here in Lakewood, Colorado. I'm Andrew Carr, signing off.